We are back with Jeff Arnett. Jeff, of course, the master distiller for Company Distilling, and he was nice enough to bring along 3 incredible whiskeys. So we're going to begin with this one right here, which is the Applewood, right?
It is. And this is the one product that is it's a Tennessee whiskey-based product, which means it's been charcoal mellowed. That's kind of what Tennessee's heritage step is. It's a bourbon, but it's charcoal mellowed through sugar maple. I chose Applewood to finish this because every one of these has a unique wood finish. I describe this as a cinnamon apple. Quick finish that doesn't linger in the back of the throat very long. 86.5 proof because 865 is East Tennessee's area code where this was invented. It's also Vol on your touch-tone phone, so 865. So this is a Tennessee-based product.
What am I looking for here as I take the first sip?
It's going to have a lot of front end. Sweet taste buds are on the tip of your tongue, sours on the sides and underneath the tongue, and then bitters on the back of the tongue and the throat. This will not have a lot of bitterness to it. Because it's a high corn recipe, it's going to have a lot of flavor in the middle of the tongue out to the tip. And it will finish pretty quickly. You'll just get a little bit of heat. The alcohol's 86 proof.
Very good. Very good.
Quick on the finish.
This next one we have here, and just in the interest of full disclosure, I did not swallow this. This goes into the spittoon here. This is the one you kicked off Company Distilling with.
It was, and it was because I thought it pitched the broadest net for what people look for out of a whiskey. You know, this is a bourbon-based product, which means it's at least 51% corn, but it's also wheated. And wheated, to me, the attraction of it is that it tends to be a little bit softer, a little bit more approachable than maybe rye, because usually wheat is replacing rye.
Sure.
But it also was a great candidate for the maple wood, and I thought that the unique flavor that maple brought to this worked really well with maple. So this is a 90 proof product.
Can you tell anything about legs when you're drinking out of a Cairn glass like this?
Yes, you can.
I know you can on wine, but what
yeah,
about
I mean,
whiskey?
the thicker the legs are going to be, the more wood sugars you've extracted. So it's not quite as pronounced as you see in wines, because wines can have a lot of sugars or not. But the wood sugars, the more prominent they are, the more they'll leave legs.
And the legs are what you see
the
to
veins,
the inside of the glass,
liquid veins that kind of go down it. This one's going to be very balanced. It's also going to have a richer, fuller mouthfeel because it's partially column and partially pot distilled. So for people who might be a fan of Woodford Reserve, that's one of the products in the market. That's I call it a hybrid distillation technique. I kind of mimic that for this, but I did it on a wheated base.
Wow.
So, a lot of character, but also approachable.
Yeah, it is approachable.
Yeah.
All right, and this one is a cherry finish, which you haven't seen a whole lot of in the distilled spirits arena.
But what was interesting about cherry is rye is known to be a very peppery, spicy type of whiskey.
Bam.
Cherry wood is actually, the character that comes from cherry wood actually mimics the fruit pretty closely, so it's a fairly sweet wood.
Right.
And I felt like the sweetness of that wood helped offset the spice that came from the rye. But this is a 100 proof product. It's a 100% rye. It's a pumpernickel, like a 95% pumpernickel dark rye, 5% malted rye. The cherry wood does a really nice job of settling it. Mint,
you can
licorice.
actually smell the cherry in
You can. Dried fruit, you'll catch it on it. But it's mint, licorice, a little soft pepper, a little dried fruit. And what I love about it, people ask me which is the favorite or which is the best. I'm like, tell me what you normally drink, I'll tell you which is best. What I really like is just the range that we can create using the different grains and the different woods.
I know this is not a fair question, Jeff, but out of these 3, and there are many more products from Company Distilling to come, which of these is your favorite? And I know that's like asking which of your kids is your favorite, but...
Well, for most people not knowing what they might drink, I feel like I'm always going to start them here. I think the wheated bourbon with the maple wood finish at 90 proof, that's a good middle. I call it, if you're fishing the pond, it's a nice cast into the middle of it.
Sure.
When you put out a Tennessee whiskey with an applewood or a cherry finished rye, you're maybe casting to the edges a little bit.
Very well.
And so that's a little bit more of a niche consumer, but I feel like this has broad appeal, and it's done very well. It's won awards for us.
And a lot of them.
Yeah.
And your expansion is really taken a lot of people by surprise, which I think is a good thing, right? Most of the whiskey industry as a whole is kind of taking a dip.
Yeah, right now the industry certainly challenged. The industry, I think, slowed down a little bit. Interest rates are kind of slowing people down too. There's been a glut. There's been a lot of new brands hitting the market. I don't think all of them will survive. But we grew about 15% last year in distribution, but partly that's because we're in 9 states. And as long as we're adding states each year, even if the overall market might be shrinking, we can get past that.
When you started this, there were 3 or 4 registered distilleries in Tennessee, and now that number's approaching and maybe even a little bit above 50.
Coming out of Prohibition back in 1938, only 3 counties in Tennessee were allowed to distill. So that was Pritchard, Jack Daniels, George Dickel were the only 3. When the laws changed, now 80 of the 95 can distill. Right. So now you got about 50 distilleries. And there's a lot to explore. There's a whole Tennessee whiskey trail. You got merch and all that good stuff.
You got beautiful shirts like this. You got hats, and we can take a tour of your distillery, right?
Yes, all 3 of our facilities that are running will receive guests. We're in Thompson Station where we make gin. We have a place on the square in Lynchburg. We're right outside the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Townsend.
Jeff, always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome to come back here anytime. And you don't even have to bring whiskey. Stick around. We have more of Let's Chat right after this.